Hi, I'm Venus O'Hara. Welcome to a new video. I've just come back from 2.5 weeks in the States and I wanted to share some of my honest opinions and reflections about my recent trip to the US and also tell you what I was doing there and why I went. If you don't know who I am and what I do, I am a British content creator living in Barcelona, Spain, and I have a worldwide audience, mainly based in the US. And that's the first reason why I wanted to go to the US, to kind of connect with my audience energetically and physically, and just be in the space where my content is consumed. Because most of my content, I would say most of my followers are in the US, and also most of my listeners of my podcast, viewers of this YouTube channel, etc. are there. And I wanted to do some kind of energetic exchange, I suppose. I wanted to tap into the more of the hustle culture and bring my Mediterranean chill, because I do think maybe people in the States might benefit from the Mediterranean chill, because I know I definitely need some of that hustle culture, being pushed to my potential and things like that. Because I think here in Barcelona, sometimes it feels like life is in the comfort zone, and the comfort zone can make you very lazy, hence the mañana culture, that's kind of quite strong here. Another reason why I wanted to go to the States, well, the energetic exchange thing we've been going on for, I'm just looking at, I've got some neighbours on a roof there, a bit strange. Anyway, this energy exchange idea I've had for quite a long time, and I've been planning this trip for years. So I wanted to go to New York, Miami, and LA. And the reason why I chose those places was because New York, well, there's just so much happening there. I have lots of people I know there, and it was kind of a work, pleasure, connections kind of thing. And also in LA the same, but Miami was just to go and see a friend. It wouldn't have been part of the journey if I hadn't had a friend there. So I was always looking at those three cities, and from time to time I would check out the flight prices on Skyscanner, and I thought, oh, one day, and then I actually finally did it when I finished. When I just published my book, Orgasmic Manifestation, which I brought with me, and I was able to take pictures with Manhattan skylines at sunset and all lots of cool things like that. So I wanted to do this energy exchange and also just be in the States and to get something from it. And also I think I've been working so hard for such a long time. And it was time to kind of think, how am I actually going to do something with the money I've earned? Am I actually going to enjoy my free time? Because I've not had a holiday for over, I don't know, we're talking about 17, 18 years since I've had about 2 weeks or more than 2 weeks off. So that was really kind of weighing on my mind, all this work, all this grind, even though I'm in a very, in the comfort zone, it kind of gets to you when there's nothing exciting on the horizon. So I needed some excitement in my life. And also, I'm not sure if I've shared this on here, but I've been through some major things in the last 6 months in my personal life. My personal life has been quite turbulent on many fronts. Very, very challenging things happening to me and people around me, which is interesting because my professional life has been going very, very well, but my personal life I am connected to people who are really struggling with illness, with grief, and really big struggles. And that has affected me because we are connected. So seeing other people struggle, it makes me think, well, I'm okay, and I want to make the most of my situation of health and vitality at this moment. And today, actually, it's one of my friend's birthdays, and I was thinking about her. It's a very good friend from my real estate days, and I was thinking about, I've not heard from her for a long time. She left Barcelona a few years ago, and I went on her social media, nothing on there for a few years, and then I discovered that she died a couple of years ago, and that's like, whoa. It's a real big wake-up call, because I think some people really take for granted, the time that we have and the health that we have, and we're not always going to have it. So it really is time to book that flight and do all those things that you wanted to do. So that's part of the motivation for me to actually finally get some excitement into my life and go to the States. I've made a little list of things here. So I think travel is a fantastic thing to do on a spiritual level. You don't have to be spiritual, but just to have some kind of meaning and excitement in your life. And what's most interesting about travel, not just about, exploring different cultures, different cuisines, but what is really interesting for me is the journey within, all the perspective that travel provides. And I've gained so much perspective on my life. It's kind of amazing, really. And this is something that I will always have with me, even though now I am back in Barcelona. So yeah, I was really looking forward to that experience, and now I'm just hungry for more travels, checking out Skyscanner to see where else I can go. But anyway, let's get into some impressions about the US. Well, I hadn't been to the US since 2009, and back then that I'd been to New York about 4 times. And the world was very different in 2009. My world was very different. I used to work in luxury real estate, and I went to New York. I've been a few times in the kind of mid to late 2000s, and every time I went, I don't know why I was kind of going. Well, I kind of meant to see family and friends and stuff, but I remember just feeling this incredible loneliness. Walking around Manhattan and just feeling that this loneliness that I felt inside was amplified with all the energy that was around me. I felt like I was looking at everything from the outside, and I wasn't really a part of it. And that was quite a frustrating feeling, really, because I've always been a bit of a workaholic, and sometimes when you stop work, you're facing your life and thinking, who am I without my work? What is my identity? And that was how it was for me back then. I didn't have, the incredible job that I have now as a content creator, which gives a lot of meaning for my life. Oh no, someone just messaged me. Oh no, I was going to meet someone now and then they don't know. Wait. No, how annoying. I just left this event early, and then one of my friends said, I came and I didn't see you. I was like, I wish I'd seen him. Anyway, a bit of a sidetrack there because I'm still recording with my phone these days. So, yeah, the journey within and the loneliness. However, the world has changed since 2009, and when I was there in 2009, I didn't have a global network like I do now. And you don't have to be an influencer to have a global network. For example, you're just using LinkedIn, you can have lots of professional connections from all over the world. And fortunately for me, when I went to New York, I had a lot of people to meet from my professional network. And also I had some really big media things happening. I did the 2 biggest interviews of my entire podcast when I was in New York. And also I was interviewed as well. I can't wait to share more about that. So I had a lot to do in New York. New York was very busy for me on a really beautiful level. Well, it didn't feel like work. It was exciting, and it felt like I just liked the momentum of New York. Also, I had quite a big spiritual experience in New York. I interviewed a woman called Dr. Rachel Glick just before going to New York, well, a couple of months ago actually now, and she's the author of a book called A Soulful Marriage. And this book is really good. It's for people who are in long-term relationships who are seeking connection and depth with one person, and it's so interesting because there are chapters, there are lots of tools about communication, especially related to conflict. And conflict is something that a lot of people fear. I mean, I know a lot of single people fear conflict because they don't want to get hurt, or they kind of avoid relationships because they don't want to get hurt. Whereas if you know that conflict can be an opportunity for deeper connections and closeness, then it's actually a huge opportunity. And if you eradicate that fear and learn these tools to connect more in situations of conflict, it's actually quite exciting. So I was very excited about this book and about interviewing Dr. Rachel Glick and learning all of these tools so that when I have my next relationship, I'm going to be super on the ball and fearless and ready to give so much love. Anyway, I established a really great connection with Dr. Rachel Glick. And at the end of our interview, I learned that she is a Cabala teacher, and we arranged to do a second interview all about the Cabala. Anyway, when she knew I was going to New York, she actually connected me with the Cabala Center there, and I went along for a session on Cabala, and it was mind-blowing. I mean, really, this was just, talk about empowerment. It was something that has really blown my mind, opened my mind to a new way of thinking and a new way of seeing the world. And I actually bought a book there called True Prosperity, How to Have Everything. And I read the book like, it was just so good. And I'm now so excited to learn more about the Cabala. And this is very different from the education I received as a Catholic education, which is, in my humble opinion, very disempowering. It's all about, you're nothing, and self-erasure because everyone else is more important. You're just a sinner. You're going to spend your whole life just struggling and trying to kind of, be forgiven because you're so terrible. Even before you've done anything, you're kind of a sinner, So the Cabala is completely different. It's very empowering, like you deserve gifts and blessings and things like that. So I do like that way of thinking, but it might take some removing of these limiting beliefs for me to actually fully embody it. But I'm open to the challenge anyway. So some more reflections about New York. I was expecting a lot of I've heard, terrible stories about the US right now about, the homeless situation or just general the atmosphere. But I found it was absolutely fine, to be honest. Everything I encountered at least was I encountered so much hospitality, so much welcoming energy, and it was absolutely fantastic. I think if I went to New York for a month, I would have a very full and satisfying social life there. It was just buzzing. And even things that I really appreciate in Barcelona also existed there. For example, you might have seen videos of me dancing salsa in the park, which is something I like to do here in Barcelona. Not every weekend, but a lot of weekends. But I was in Bryant Park, and there was a live Cuban band playing and people dancing. I was like, oh, if I came back, I could dance salsa in a park in New York and live those things that I cherish about Barcelona, but live them in a different setting. So that was kind of quite inspiring for me. And just what is really amazing for me about the States is seeing how ideas become into reality. I mean, I saw some really unique things. I just saw some really unique things that might not, survive in Barcelona. And there's a very kind of small, limited mindset here. People not wanting to spend money on anything, which is a part of it. It's kind of collective. You become part of it when you are living here as well. And I'm also part of the problem of not wanting to invest anything. And it's just a very, very different mindset here. But I just love that kick-ass, let's have an idea, let's do it, let's just get ideas in motion. And that's something that I really, really, really loved. And it's something I want to, embody more in my life as well. Then going to Miami was a very different vibe. That was, the heat was just so intense. But I had a wonderful time. I loved the Latin vibe there. And it's not somewhere I would ever live, but it was still nice to visit nonetheless. And it's not somewhere I would actually choose to visit either, had it not been for one of my very good friends living there. And that's something that's interesting about travel as well, is that sometimes we have a list of destinations that we want to discover, but sometimes when we're not fully in charge of that list making, let's say, we can explore destinations that we might never have considered. And we can do this through work travel or visiting friends. It's like somewhere new, something different, but it wasn't on my list. And then you can really open your mind to things. I've experienced that a lot with work travel. I mean, places like I've been, that have impacted me with work travel of like Japan, Dubai, and where else? Sweden. There are places that I would never choose to actually go and visit, but I'm so glad that I've had experiences visiting these completely different places, and very different cultures as well through work travel. So that was a very kind of mind-opening experience. And then the LA experience was very limited, or very, how would I say, probably 2% of what's there. I didn't really feel like doing a lot of movement when I was there. I could have seen a lot of, tourist things, but I just chose to stay in Venice Beach and Santa Monica area. And I just walked so much. I watched sunsets. I ate the best vegan food in Cafe Gratitude, and just really, really relaxed, and met some people as well. And I had a very relaxing time at the end of my time in the US. And some things that were kind of annoying was the prices. I mean, I'm never going to complain about prices in Barcelona again, but everything was very expensive. And for example, thinking of buying a bottle of water in a very normal place, so about $4 or $5, even in a normal shop, it was like, oh my god, just 1 liter of water. This is insane. And also the tipping culture. If you're just buying water or something like that, just getting 20% tip on, I don't know, it just seems quite excessive a lot of the time. So that was something that was a bit of a shock for me. I was kind of glad to get back into Europe and not be in this tipping culture and be among decent prices. But it's also helped me to think bigger in terms of my pricing. Because I think sometimes living in a place that's quite affordable like Barcelona, that can really impact how I am pricing my services, etc. But now that I've been there, I'm like, okay, we can add a few zeros on here and there and not feel bad about it, because it's part, people do spend more there, and the cost of living is different. So yeah, a lot of reflections. Let's see how I feel now. So now that I'm back in Barcelona, I am seeing Barcelona as my base. I'm still, I love how accessible lots of wellness things are here. I love the prices. I love, being able to buy organic food, locally sourced, is amazing. So things that can be, that are considered luxury in other places are quite accessible here, which is something that's quite wonderful. But at the end of the day, I think I need to just, take Barcelona at face value and not try and complain that it's not like somewhere else. So I really want to have a more global lifestyle where I'm living here and just having more contact with other countries and culture. And I already have some plans. In the pipeline to make that happen. So yeah, so that's about it in general. So there's my reflections on the US. So hopefully I'll be back very, very soon. And now I have a new sense of purpose, I think, from this trip. And I'm going to be working on something that's super cool. I'll be able to reveal what that thing is in about 10 or 11 weeks. I can't wait. And for now, I'm just super inspired now to start kind of taking my content in the direction of lifestyle, wellness, spirituality, and things like that. The things that I'm really, really passionate about, but haven't been entirely sure about how to package and deliver. But now this trip has given me a lot of clarity. Yes. So that's it. So those are my reflections on my recent trip to the US. Loved it. Want to go back. And for the time being, I'm going to enjoy where I am and this moment. And be grateful for all the gifts that I have. Because I know a lot of people who are struggling at this moment. Anyway, that's it. And if you have any comments to make, you have any requests for new content, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. I'd love to read them. And I'll be back on the plan, kind of responding to comments very soon. I've been a bit limited over the last couple of weeks, but I will be, back on the plan very, very soon. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting my work. And see you soon. Mwah.